In this video, I'm going to show you how to bring everything together for the local map website. So the first thing we're going to do here is go to the GitHub repository, and we are going to clone it. If you have GitHub, you can use the GitHub desktop. If you're more familiar with Git, you can just clone it locally or via command line, but we're going to do download zip and save it to our Mapathon folder. All right, let's open it. Okay, so let's unzip it, extract, and there it is. Okay, go into it, and here are our files. So I'm going to right click this address of the folder, copy address as text, and open up my terminal. So I'm going to do CD for change directory, then I'm going to paste that address. I also could do CD document slash mapathon slash all this to get there, but this is fastest. Enter. So if you know how to make a Python virtual environment, you can do that. But if not, no worries. There's only really two packages you'll need, which are Flask and Flask-WTF. So we can download those at the command line, pip install Flask. All right, so I already have it downloaded, so it's fine. And then pip install Flask-WTF. Installed. Great, okay. So let's open up this folder so we can have a look at it. Open folder, Mapathon, Mapathon main. Okay. So this is our repository. So the first thing we're going to look at is run, just because this has the instructions. So I'm going to, because I'm on Windows and using PowerShell, I'm going to copy this and paste it back here into the terminal and then say Flask run. All right, so this is working. Going to paste it here, and this is our website. So we've got our Corine, our peatlands, we can toggle its visibility, we've got the base map, and we can expand, contract the map view. But when we click, it doesn't work. So let's right click and inspect, go up here, and we can see that we're getting CORS errors. So we're going to have to go into our Tomcat directory. So let's open it up. File Explorer, C, Program Files, Apache Software Foundation, Tomcat, Web Apps, GeoServer folder, not the war, and then web-inf, finally to web.xml. Open. Okay. So let's scroll down and we're going to find CORS. This is CORS in Jetty. We want CORS in Tomcat. So it says uncomment the following filter to enable CORS in Tomcat. Do not forget the second config block further down. So let's uncomment this. Great. And then this is the filter mapping to enable CORS. This is that second bit. Great. Okay. Control S. We'll save that. All right. You might have to restart Tomcat, but I'll refresh. There it is. Great. Okay. So now if we click, here we go. Everything's working. So if I click somewhere on the map, it'll tell me what the Corine classification is. So these are all peat bogs. Do we have any marshes? Yep, there's a marsh. Perfect. And as we click around, we can see the policies change. So we've got County Monaghan Wetland Action Plan, Midlands Regional Enterprise Plan. If I click down towards Dublin, even if no bogs come up or peatlands come up, I get the Midlands Regional Enterprise Plan, National Development Plan. If I go over to Galway, let's see the Peat Bog, we've got the Galway County Development Plan, Regional Spatial and Economic Strategy. Great, so everything's working as we want. The last step is not the analysis, but making this with your own data. What is the code that absolutely must be changed and what can be left alone? So I'll take you through that now. So run.py is the first file. We don't really have anything here that we need to change. So we'll close out of that. So let's go to templates. These are our HTML pages. So this is the base. This is in our website, there really is only the one page. So this is just the base that would be the same on all pages if they were all built off of it. So see, this says extends base.html. Base has the Bootstrap links, the JavaScript links that we need. So we really want to leave everything in here. If you want to make edits, you can change the images that are held there, which are stored in static. And you can, change the tagline if you want to make it your team name or something. But you probably won't want to change much in base. In map, this is the map page. So this is kind of the structure of this page, the layers being displayed here, the button, the policies, the pop-up, the map itself. So you probably won't have much to change in this either, unless you want to create your own web page design, which is absolutely encouraged if you have the time for it. So templates are done. So what's next/left is the static folder. So in this, again, you can change the pictures if you want, style.css. If you understand the connections between these and the IDs of things or their classes, absolutely experiment with different signs. And then finally, the scripts. So these are the core of the website. This is what really brings everything together. So we'll start near the end with map. So the map, first thing is the server URL. This is how we are connecting our website to GeoServer to access the Postgres database. So we have to put our localhost 8080 GeoServer/WMS. This should be the same for everyone. Keep this as it is because we are having our base map be OpenStreetMaps and it uses this coordinate system. So leave that as it is. This and this, so these are our peatland layers and our policy layers. We are labeling the source. So where in GeoServer can we find the peatland information? And for us, we can check GeoServer for this. So I'll say localhost 8080 GeoServer. So if I go to my layers, I can see Corrine Peat. The peatlands are at Mapthon Corrine Peat, and Geopol is at Mapthon Geopol. So whatever your name says here, it should be your workspace and then the name of the layer. That could be found here, and that is what you will put in this section here and in this section here. Everything else can be left as is, but if you change the variable names, just be sure to change them in their later references. So this in the layer, so this is the layer based on the source that we directed it to. And so we have name and display. These get used in other functions I'll show you in a second, but you want the name to never have any spaces in it. This will throw an error. So this is kind of an internal reference, and this is what it will say on this layer list here. Okay, so we have green, and this is our policy layer here. So this internal, the name is null. That's just because we don't want it listed as a layer in this because it would just be transparent anyway. So the display for it would be policies, that gets referenced later. I can't just leave that null. And then OpenStreetMap is all left as well. So these probably won't need any changes. And then finally, this is the view. So this is the extent of the map, the center of the map, and the zoom. So if I scroll out, this is the extent of my map. I can't go any further in any direction than these. But when we come to the map, when we first load the page, it doesn't open to this. It opens to where I've set the center and then zoomed in. This is what it looks like. So you'll have to change this. Just make sure that you're sure about the numbers. Obviously, you can play around with them, but if you change the numbers and suddenly your map doesn't load, it's okay. Just go back, keep track of what it was before, so you can go back and try again. And then lastly, this is just constructing the map. So we have our layers, and this is the order in which they're displayed. So OpenStreetMap's at the bottom, then the policy layer, which isn't really displayed, and then the peatland layer. So again, if you change any of these variable names, which you do not have to, you really don't, then make sure to change them downstream as well. All right, so that is map.js. So now let's go to custom functions really quickly. This is just how we are getting the layer using the name or the display. So get layer by name, get layer by display. And then this is how we are opening and kind of closing the map view with the button. Okay, that's it for custom functions, really. Layers, this is the script that looks at the layers in map.js, and for each layer, it displays it here, and it toggles the visibility when it is selected or deselected, which is why we don't want a policy to have the name, or else it would be included there. But yeah, don't need to make any changes to layer.js either. So then what's left besides map.js is identify and off canvas. So let's go to identify next. So what happens with this is that when we click on a point on the map, it creates this little pop-up, and the pop-up tells us what Korean soil type it is, if there is one. So we scroll down. So on single click, we construct the information which is going to be shown in HTML. So when I click on a peatland, what's displayed here, this is displayed via HTML. So we create this information to be displayed. This actually isn't necessary. We take this information to be displayed, and then we get the layer by the name. So if you change the name of the layer here, you have to change it in identify. Then we scroll down. We set the bog source, the bog URL, just like in map.js, and then we do an AJAX call. So we send our request, we get the results, the features, and if there is peatland where you click, then it constructs a new variable called Korean class, which is equal to bog.properties.soiltype. So in your code for your peatland specifically, in your database, you will have the different fields, and there might be many different fields you want to display. You might have a field called soil type. You might have, I guess for this, we had code underscore 18. So if you want to add another field to be displayed when there's a click, you do const, and I'll do CRN code equals bog.properties dot code underscore 18 semicolon. So this would create this variable. So it would get whatever the code is, and then I would use this code and I would put it into the HTML. So this is just the paragraph text. So if I said paragraph code $, curly brackets, CRN code, and then end P. If I do that, and I save, I Control C, and then start Flask again and refresh. If I click somewhere, it will show the code as well. And then again, that would change if I click on a marsh instead of 412, it'd be 411, and so on. So you can make these sorts of changes if you want to display other information. Just remember that you have to have this be whatever the name of that field, that column name was, and then you have to put it into the HTML as well. So that's it for identified.js. We'll go ahead and save. And so now lastly, we have off canvas. Off canvas is it's called off canvas because we used to have a pop-up that's where the policies would display, but now we just have it popping up down here. So this off canvas code is how we get the policies to display. And then you also might notice that they start in county and then they go to regional and then national. Everything after this is national. I know it kind of looks like it's sorted by topic, but if I go, I think up here, yeah, you can see it's not quite. So yeah, county, regional, national. So I'll show you how that changes over here. All right, so we have this pill dictionary. The pill dictionary is just, they're called pills. They're just little colored ovular shaped labels. So we've got these. So make sure that for your classifications in your policy sheet, policy Excel sheet, that you have the same conventions of capitalization and spacing and all that, just so it actually renders the pills. Because if it doesn't match it exactly, case sensitive and all that, it won't show. All right, so now going down. So when we click on the map, much like in the identify script, it creates a request. So we get this Ajax feature return. So we get more than one feature. We get all the features. So we construct the variable IPOL, and it has result features I. So this is the IPOL layer, get layer by display policies. So if you change this policies display in map for your policies layer, you will have to change it in off canvas here as well. And then these should all be the same if you're using the same setup that we did. So having a name field, a level field, classif field, and link. If your naming conventions are different for your columns, you will have to have these be exactly the same as the columns. All right, and then this displays everything in the element. So it's not just this information here, but it is displayed nicely. If you would like to display it differently, you absolutely can. You just have to understand how the HTML is integrating these different variables. And then finally, this is why it appends it. So it does county, then regional, then national. If you think there's a better way to display it, go ahead and do that. All right, so that is all for the repository. So congratulations, you've made it to the end of the tutorial, tech-wise at least. So go ahead and start trying to apply this to your own layers, and good luck.